All right, so I want to talk to you today about how to batch all of your content for Instagram within 1 to 2 hours a month. So let's get started. Now, let me tell you why this is so important. When you're trying to run a business or grow a brand, you're busy. You're doing sales, you're doing customer service, you're helping your clients or your customers. You're trying to do all the things. Maybe you have to file your taxes or do accounting. You're just all over the place as the owner of your business. So the problem with a lot of business owners is that if you're constantly multitasking and your mind is switching from this to that, you're not going to be effective in what you do. So the benefit of batching your content for Instagram is that it allows you to focus so that you have really good quality content that's already scheduled ahead of time. It also allows you to be consistent. So I'm going to show you how to have foundational content that's going to always be going out all the time, and sometimes you can just come in randomly if you want to just do a reel or a story, totally fine, but you want to have some baseline content that is already scheduled and ready to go. This way you don't have to think about it. When you do this, you will have free time to focus on other areas of your business and be consistent with showing up online all the time. After you finish this video, people are going to be like, well, you're always on my feed, I constantly see you, and you're going to be like, yeah, I'm just that great. Now, there's two types of content you're going to be putting on Instagram. One is what I call evergreen content. And this has to do with topics that are related to your niche that you've researched that relate to some of the problems that your ideal customer or client are facing. And this type of content is going to draw the audience into wanting to purchase something from you. The second type of content is like spontaneous content. So like once you have everything scheduled for the month, you can just come in there and just do like an Instagram story or do a reel and just have fun. But that is not something you're going to do all the time, because if you get busy, you want to have this content already scheduled. So sometimes you can mix it up with spontaneous content. So the first thing you want to do is you want to decide on a posting schedule, okay? You do not have to post every single day to be successful on Instagram. And I think that's a myth that people have been like sharing somewhere on blogs. But you don't have to. You only have to create really good content, and actually the more quality content you put on Instagram, the better. So you could schedule a post just twice a week. You could even do it once a week, or you can do it 3 times a week. Now, depending on your niche, depending on what you talk about, like if you're running a business that's based on current events, things that are happening like in real time, then yeah, you may have to post a little bit more. But for most people, you do not have to post that much. So decide if you're gonna do about 2 to 3 times a week. Now, you can designate just 2 hours per month to batch all this content. Some people, it may take you longer. For me personally, I could spend 2 hours a month and plan out all of my Instagram content. That's because I've been doing this for a long time, both as a digital marketer, someone who runs a marketing agency, and even for myself. But for you, it may take you a little bit longer. The other thing you can do is you can have a schedule where you do batching every 2 weeks, okay? So every 2 weeks you go, you take an hour to 90 minutes, and you just plan out for the next 14 days. Now, you wanna do your research and planning ahead of time. So what I recommend you do is you have what's called content pillars, okay? I have content pillars for my business, and what this is are 3 to 5 topics that I constantly talk about, but that I rotate, okay? So let me give you an example. So for my niche and my audience, I'm talking about social media tips, content planning and research, just like this video. I'm also talking about how people can get clients and get customers through social media. So those are about 3 different topics. Those main topics, I can break them down into subtopics. I have most of this documented in a tool that I use called Notion for content planning and project management. And I'm gonna go into how I actually use that and how you can use it for your business. So when you have these content pillars, you already know what you're going to talk about. If you have somebody on your team, if you hire a virtual assistant, if you hire someone else, and you give them these pre-planned content pillars with different topics for every category, it's going to be easier for you to outsource and get help to create content for your business. All right, so with content pillars, you can actually have almost an unlimited amount of ideas. You don't have to be thinking about everything every day. So let me give you an example of how I break down my pillars. So the first content pillar I talk about on my brand is social media marketing. So from that, I can have like 5 to 10 different topics on Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, Pinterest, different social media platforms. I can create separate posts all about that. The second pillar is content planning and strategy. From that, I have 4 to 5 topics about which tools to use for social media, for content, different ways to create content, different ways to write your captions. This relates to the topic of content planning. And then my third content pillar is about how to get clients and customers. So I talk about sales, I talk about marketing, I talk about how to manage your clients and customers once you get them. So those are my examples of what I talk about on my Instagram account. So let's say you're someone who owns a health and wellness business. You may be talking about dieting, meal planning, how to do exercise, how to be healthy. Maybe you talk about health supplements or natural things you can take to make you feel better, whatever it is that you talk about, right? If you are someone who is a digital marketer, maybe you do graphic design, you could talk about branding topics. You could talk about different tools for website design or logos. So it's different depending on your niche. Now, I have all this stuff mapped out in a tool called Notion, okay? I love Notion because I planned this whole thing out. I have my team members who collaborate with me in Notion. It's basically a content calendar that I actually created. If you want to get access to that, I do have a link to it in the description of this video, but it makes planning so easy and coming up with different topics. Everything's very organized by my content pillars, and I know when things are going to be published. So I make two types of content for Instagram. One are reels, which are the videos that are short form, and then I also use image posts. A lot of times I do carousels as well. So what I'll do is I'll use a tool like Canva to create different image posts, and sometimes I have graphics, I have diagrams that I put to explain the topics that I want to talk about for my audience. So once I have those images created in Canva, I start to write the captions for each one, and I put them inside of my Notion content calendar. I also record my reel videos, and I have my editor go and edit them for captions, but you don't have to do that. You can actually just pretty much use what you have on your Instagram Reels tool. You can even do a story on like an Instagram story, and you can actually save that as a reel video as well, and use the in-app editing tool to add trending audio to your reels. Now, if I'm creating a video within the Instagram app for my reel, I will save it as a draft. I try to save those. Now, one thing I want to tell you is you have to be very careful when you create reels and you save it as a draft, because if something happens to your phone or whatever, it could get deleted. So a lot of times I actually film my video on my own camera, like I'm actually using a Sony right now. I film it on a separate camera and I save it, and then I edit it in different editing softwares. I have some links to different ways to edit reels. If you want to get access to those tools, there is a link in the description of this video. Then I also write the captions for the reels as well, and I put all that in the Notion content calendar. Now, there's hashtag planning. Now, one thing I want to say about hashtags is that hashtags used to be a big deal back in the days. Hashtags will not necessarily give your posts more visibility. What Instagram is focusing on right now is more searchable content. So make sure your captions are very descriptive, using keywords relevant to your industry. Now, hashtags can be helpful as well, especially if you have a local business, like a local restaurant, a local dentist office, and you use hashtags for your specific city and your niche. Those can actually help you get more visibility. So when it comes to hashtags, you don't have to put 30 different hashtags on a post. That's not going to guarantee that you automatically get visibility. You just need really good captions to describe what you're really talking about in that post. A good way to come up with hashtags if you have a local business is to look at what are some of the other businesses in your city doing. What type of hashtags do your local restaurants use, or depending, let's say you have a Pilates studio, like what are they using? You can do research by going into the search bar in Instagram and putting in hashtags for your city and looking for local businesses and looking at their page and profile to see what hashtags they are using. All right, so after you've planned out the content for the month, now you're going to pre-schedule everything. I use a tool called Later.com to schedule all of my posts. One thing I really like about Later is you can actually schedule your posts on multiple platforms, not just Instagram. You can do it on Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, different platforms. I also like the fact that I can schedule my reels in advance using the Later platform. I actually have a link to Later in the description of this video where you can actually try it for free if this is your first time using it. All right, so make sure you connect with me on Instagram and subscribe to this channel. I put out videos every single week to help you grow on social media and to help you market and sell your services and offers. All right, so see you later. Take care.